Guest today has built an incredible career across hospitality, research, and higher education. Originally from the Philippines, she studied hospitality business management and worked with Michelin-star chefs. She gained hands-on experience in luxury hotels and events before making the move to Australia. After completing her master's degree, she transitioned into research and academia, where she spent the last 3 years inspiring hospitality students at Stanley College. She is known for her kindness and belief that curiosity is the key to success. This is Rhanee Casilliano, a hospitality professional, researcher, and fellow lecturer at Stanley College. Let's get into it. I know how I got my hospitality bug, but tell me about you. How did you get the hospitality bug?
Oh, well, first, I studied hospitality business management as my undergrad in the Philippines. And then after that, I started working in hotels and then had my internship in Singapore and then worked in one of that time in the Philippines, the only place that was included in the 50 best restaurant in Asia. So I worked this as event coordinator. So that's the first legit, I'll say, experience. I work with Michelin-star chefs over there. So it was a very good experience. And then after 7 years, I decided to continue a further study. That's when I came to Australia. So I did my master's. And then after that, back to work in the hotel where, however, one thing that I experienced here, the journey was fulfilling. I would say grateful to Australia that now I call my second home. But the journey wasn't that easy. Like most students think that you came to Australia, you study, you get PR, that's it. No, it doesn't work that way. I remember applying for a job and they looked at my resume. I feel like I've done a good background as for experience-wise, the places where I worked. But then every time they would ask me, we need a local experience. And it was difficult because I was like, I just arrived here in Australia. I don't know what local experience I can show you in my CV. So that's when I really started from the bottom, like really being started at waitress, working at the sushi shop. So yeah, I juggled here and there until, well, the things that I do was more than the things that was offered to me. So I become like supervisor in just few months because I feel like, come on, this is so easy to me. Like you can give me more. So the promotion was fast, I would say, until I get back to at least the managerial position. But still to me, like, I don't know if you worked in Asia, but for your listeners who worked in Asia, working in hospitality in Asia is far too different from here in Australia. So there, if you work in a 5-star, it's a 5-star. So here, I would say, in personal experience, it's more like laid back, and it's not really like in Asia that you have to really treat them with 1,000 times respect, with addressing them moms or all that kind of things. But here it was more relaxed and it's more equal. You see your guest as equal to you and your guests see you as an equal person. But in Asia, the standard is different. There is a peculiar gap between a employee and a guest. And by saying that, it's not that it's a bad thing for the hospitality industry here in Australia, but you learned a lot as well. Like you grew as a person, not only like professionally, but experience-wise, I feel like my training in Asia gives me more than my training here. So that was my hospitality experience.
I've noticed the same thing. There's a cultural difference between Australia and the places that I've worked before. Europe, Middle East, and like you said, in Asia. I've had the pleasure to work with people coming from Asia in the Middle East, and you can see the ethos and the work dessert, the melon, the respect that you just mentioned,
Yes.
which strike me as something very humble to begin
Yeah.
with. But you mentioned something about Michelin-star. I just want to go back to that and ask you,
Yes.
what was the most weird thing a guest asked you?
Okay, this is a very funny story because um, that place only like elite people can afford, right? Because they're really quite high. And we used to host dignitaries such as ambassadors. And there were an event where it was the ambassadors of the Philippines with the ambassadors of Australia and America, like a luncheon, like women's. So their wives was invited. And one particular wife of the ambassador there, she did not mention that she just had a surgery, which was a root canal. So the servers then serve her salad, which she ordered. Can't remember what type of salad, but it was a salad. So you can imagine the regular cut size, right? So she requested, the wife of the ambassador requested to have it cut in a smaller size. So then the server take it to the kitchen and then have it cut in the smaller size. When it was returned, she was angry because she said it was not as she was asking it for, but it was cut into smaller size. And then the executive chef was now angry because, again, these are big people. And then why is this complaint? And it was becoming like creating a scene kind of thing. And then I went there because I also worked, I managed the hostess ladies for the event. So I went there and asked, like, what can I do? And she said, well, I'll ask this person to have my salad cut into small pieces. And then it was already cut into small pieces. And then I said, oh, would you like it to be cut smaller than this? And she said, yes. Do you understand me? As if it was now my mistake. So I went to the kitchen and then I asked the chef, like, would you be able to mince this? And then the chef was mad at me because my chef used to tell us that it is the job of the front people to educate the guest. It is not the way that guest is always right, but the guest needs to be educated. So that's their motto as the Michelin-star chef. That's how, like, you have to explain their food to your guest on how to eat it. But I was like, in my head, I don't want to go back. And then she's angry. So I asked, like, if it's possible to really mince it. So now the salad was minced. Imagine your Caesar was minced. And then it came out. And I was like, is this how you want it, ma'am? And then she was pleased. And that only then she said that she just had a root canal. Can you believe that? She could have advised the server first what she meant exactly before creating a scene. And then me getting in trouble with my chef because I asked the salad to be minced. And that's all she wanted. And since then, the servers had a code name of her as the root canal ambassadress. Every time they would go, there was already whispers, oh, the ambassador root canal is here.
Ambassador root canal. Oh, that's good.
Oh, dear. I cannot forget that story because it was just too funny to create a fuss, I guess. But, sometimes people feel so entitled with the title that they have and think that they can just run everything, really.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the phrase, the guest is always right. And if you know the whole phrase, is the guest is always right in matters of taste. That's the whole phrase. That's the whole phrase. The phrase is the guest is always right in matter of taste, which means that if he likes that, he's always right. But we in hospitality kind of took that away and said, well, the guest is always right. And we have this as a guide, as a compass. The guest is always right. But I agree with you. Sometimes a chef has created a dish to be enjoyed the way it's been created.
Yes.
With a certain potatoes, with a certain onions, with a certain cooking style. It's not meant to be messed around by taking things out. If you like something else, just try something else.
Yes.
Right? I get it. I get it. But this is the conversation about hospitality, and I don't want to frighten
Yes.
anyone out there trying to get into hospitality.
No.
If we were going to describe hospitality to our listeners, how would you describe it in one sentence? What is hospitality?
I would say hospitality is an industry where you have to enjoy meeting people and you have to be comfortable with managing stress or pressure, long hour shifts. At the same time, you have to enjoy every moment of the experience because hospitality is very unique in a sense that no same shift is the same. So it's always different. No matter what they're a regular guest to you, every experience is different. So you got to be that person that likes to be challenged and welcome new learnings, because there's so much to learn in hospitality, which sometimes I feel sad because some of the students that I met and I taught that they would always think that it's just a normal job, like just serving. When I started my hospitality job, I didn't see it that way. I see it in a way like a whole world of international people that I was meeting every day, new people of different walks of life. That's how I see it. And then hearing different experiences of different guests, different stories. So I really do enjoy. So that's how I see hospitality, really. So I still
Very
love
well.
it, don't get me wrong, but
I've been out of hospitality for at least 6-7 years now, and I still want to go back. I still want to go manage events. Still want to go behind a bar, make a cocktail. Still want to go and set up tables in the restaurant. Go and talk to the chef. That back and forth with the chef,
yes,
when you
yes.
have that conversation, when you have, I don't know, 40 people waiting, and you have the dockets lining up. And you have the pressure from the kitchen, you have the heat from the kitchen coming in, and you have the pressure from the people
Yes.
coming out, and you're right
Yes.
there in the middle. It's a very, when you're in that position, you don't feel it, but when you're outside and you're looking in, so how do you manage all that stress? How do you get to, but at the end of the shift, you sit down with your chef and you go through the shift and you say, what did we learn? How can we make this better? Is there anything we can improve? And then you get your staff and you do your post shift briefings, and I'm sure that at the Michelin-star you would have done that before and after
It
to see how
like
everything went.
working in a top restaurant with a Michelin-star chef. I would say they're very detailed. So you gotta be detailed oriented. So every 3 months we would have a training. So the training was not only for chef and the front staff, including me on the events and then the hostess. So we would have like an exam about the new dishes on how it's being made, what's the
Oh, wow.
ingredients. Yes, so including the bell person, the one who just pressed the lift has to know. So,
Wow.
and then prior to event, my training was to know who are the VVIPs and who's sitting who's. So I would have a picture of those people and memorizing their positions. So I knew when the lift opens, I knew who to greet and who they are, where to sit them. There is no paper or whatnot. So it was really like there's no room for mistakes. So in hospitality, particularly if you work in those kind of places, there's no room for mistake and it can only be perfection. With the chef per se, they're very strict. So you cannot alter their food. That's one thing. So you cannot argue about how their food should be eaten. So they tell you what to say to your guests on how this food is prepared and how to eat the food itself. So it was very like strict. So we follow things through. And I guess they're also just kind of human beings. We look at these Michelin-star chefs, like very high, yes, with experience. But at the end of successful dinner or successful event, they would always open a bottle of wine or champagne and toast with everyone. And that's it. So yeah, they would even like ask us to go hang out with them after the shift if you like. So there was no division in between. But during work is work. So it's like the standard cannot be below 0.1. So it has to be always on top. So yes, different, but so that's why like when I came to Australia, because it was a different setup, I say that, it's more, like open,
Yeah.
like, because I came from an environment where I feel I'm restricted because I need to be aware of do's and don'ts very strictly. And then here you have the autonomy, like particularly in events, like when you're in a management position, you can actually discuss things with them. But where my previous experience is, I have to discuss it first to the executive chef and then discuss to the client. And if they can agree in between, then that's how we're going to run the event. So quite different, but both have a advantage and disadvantage.
Like any job. But if I get you to choose from the roles that you had in the hospitality, which one would you go back to in a heartbeat?
Events. Still events. Like when I used to work as a hostess, I liked the job that because it was easy, I would say. Like you just need to be pretty and nice. But doing the events teach me a lot of not only being more detailed in the work itself, but the skills I learned in the event, in preparation behind the scenes, like the contracts, finance that comes with it, budgeting that comes with it, staffing, trainings, and at the same time, like building networks with your clients. That's the best. I remember coming home on a Christmas, having a lot of gifts, flowers from my previous clients. I feel like I just won a lottery, because somehow they remembers you. Even here in Australia, in my previous 2 hotels, that's one thing I'm proud of. Like they remember you.
They do.
So it would be event.
What is the one skill that job, or either in hostess or events, helped you to make the next move as a lecturer?
Ooh, it's more on, I would say it was time management, detail oriented, and then fast learning. So I think those are the 3 things that and then of course the managerial thing, because in teaching, it also comes in a way that, it's different how to manage students in a way, but knowing the management rule in those positions help you much more understand the units that you are teaching, basically. But prior teaching, I work as a research assistant. So before taking into teaching, so that was the training into the academic, I'll say.
Tell me more about that. How did that come about?
So after my master's, my professor asked me if I wanted to work for her as a research assistant full time. So she took me in her wing and we did few projects like research for the industry for tourism North Queensland. So that's where the training started. So I was trained how to do the research really from step one to publishing. And then I was also a student mentor at Central Queensland University, a volunteer one. So that's how the teaching came about.
So hospitality decided to
Mm-hmm.
come to Australia, took on the masters, which is
Mm-hmm.
by itself not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went to do the research, which
Mm-hmm.
is another skill set that you need to master. It's not only have to have time management, managerial. You develop your soft skills because you have to talk, and you're a volunteer
Mm-hmm.
with the students there. So not only you have to have your hard skills, as we call them, but also the communication style that you need to talk to and get information and do your research.
Mm-hmm.
How
I think
was
that was that the communication comes in easy because someone like you would understand an event, like being a person that needs to know every single detail in an event. It's closely similar to a research. So they would actually give you what's the scope of the research, and then prior to the research, what are the things that are needed. So if it's a focus group, if it's an interview or whatnot. So my job was to actually reach out to the target audience, or what we called sample population. So because I was already like not shy to actually talk to people, so it came handy. But one thing that I would say that helped me a lot is my time management. So I'm very good at looking at my calendar and then know how to really do like a priority list based on how they are needed. So in events, that's very, very important because not only that you're attending to a current event that is going on, you also have your increase, you have your old events, you have your emails, depending on, like, let's say, are you a proactive or reactive kind of sales event person? Then it's two different positions. But again, there are other things that comes behind what guests see that you do. So those help me a lot. So I feel proud with that one. The training of being in the event really helps me a lot. So it come in handy.
it gives you that confidence to go and talk to the VVIP.
Oh,
You
yes.
you engage with people that you normally wouldn't in your everyday life, and
No,
you know
yes.
you get your starstruck kind of feeling when you actually
Mm.
see. And I remember from my days, one of the guests that we had at the Hotel Grand Bretagne in Athens was Sean Connery, and
Wow.
entering his suite and knock on the door. I was
Mm.
the butler there, getting in. I think he was doing the promotion of the famous Grouse, which is like a Scotch whiskey, but the 12
Mm-hmm.
years old, the
Mm-hmm.
more expensive one. And I walked in as a gesture of goodwill, as a complimentary.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he opened the door and he was towering over me. If you know, I'm kind of tall-ish,
Tall. Yes.
tall-ish. Now having James Bond towering over me, I was like, okay, this is James Bond. Very gentleman, took the tray away, thanked me, and I remember having that conversation. And then, as soon as we finished with the conversation, I turned around and I was replaying that in my head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for you to be able to talk to the VVIPs all the time, remember them, and
Mm-hmm.
not only that, but you have to guide them as well. They
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
expect you to tell them where
Mm-hmm.
they're going to sit, where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in a way, you kind of have control over them, telling them what they need to do.
Well, the training before that was a bit of, I will say, fun in a sense, because we were told that you cannot get too excited whenever meeting these people that are VIP, particularly with celebrities. We have this kind of like affection to the celebrities, but not with like senators, dignitaries. They have a different like feeling towards it. But we fantasize people that we see on television, right? But we were actually, during my time in that place in Philippines, we were actually told that you cannot gush over. So you have to maintain composure, even if your girl feeling is already screaming. You cannot. So there were a lot of times where I would be like, but then I cannot. So I will be like, my head, I'm screaming, but then in my face, I was like this. And then we cannot ask a photo of them unless otherwise, like they actually initiate that. Would you like that? But we cannot really talk to them even on the hallways. We cannot. So you cannot stop them. So it was very strict that we were only like gushing inside, but cannot show it. Otherwise, we will be called in the HR office. That was, their privacy was the most important thing to us. But funny you mentioned, because when I was in McCure, we had a guest. I don't know if you've been watching, if you were a fan of Game of Thrones.
Who was it?
So the Lannister, Cersei's brother.
Yes.
So I don't know his name, but we don't know that he was at the hotel. Okay. So he then came at the restaurant, and then I was at the front office, and then one of my staff told me, "Hey, Rhanee, do you know that the Lannister, everyone called him Lannister. Lannister is here." I was like, "Oh, can we take a picture?" I was like, "Please don't make a scene." So then we did not, but then the guests sitting next to him were like, oh my God, we've seen him somewhere. So it was actually the guests at the restaurant that started it, like, we've seen him somewhere. And then one of the guests couldn't help it and stood up and asked, "Excuse me, are you from that Game of Thrones?" And when it started that he allowed a picture from one table, everyone followed. Yes, everyone followed. And then at the end of their dinner, he actually looked for me and thanked the staff and had a picture with me and our staff. So nice. That was nice, but you try not to, as a courtesy. But we feel like, if it's the guest, other guests who did that, might as well, join in.
Why not?
Yes.
Yeah, those were the perks of the jobs. But getting back to hospitality events and then masters, when did you decide that I'm going to make lecturing a career? I'm going to move on to become a lecturer.
I realized that I wanted to move to the academic when I was working as a research assistant. So I feel like there was things that I never thought I would be interested. Because when I was doing my paper, don't get me wrong, I was not happy. It was more of an obligation to me. Not that I enjoyed it, but some parts of it I did enjoy. But then when I actually worked and we would travel for interview and meet the people for the focus groups, depending on what the research that my supervisor was doing, then I feel like, this is something different that I never knew that I would tap in. So one thing with me is I'm always curious of things that are unknown to me. And I never felt like I should restrict myself into new learnings. So then when I start volunteering as a student mentor, that's when I feel like, I like this feeling that you are sharing, imparting your knowledge for someone who could be, a manager one day, or, a business owner one day, imparting your experience. And those feelings were very fulfilling for me, very fulfilling, that I feel like I find a purpose. And after the contract at the school, because it happened my contract finished after COVID. No, in the middle of the COVID in the second year. So it was difficult because my supervisor got redundant. So was I. Because of course the supervisor was gone. So who are you now reporting to?
Yeah.
No one. So since then, I always look for ways into getting back to school, teaching, into academic. And that's when I got the job at the school at Stanley, I was just happy to the moon. Yes, it was like, oh my God, very grateful.
So how long have you been with Stanley?
3 years.
3 years.
Hmm.
Wow. And on that time that you've been with Stanley College, any students that you've seen, because I get this a lot as well, and that's why I'm asking you. Do you see any students have your characteristics, your drive, and sometimes you see yourself into them?
Yes, I actually have one student. Maybe it's not good to name the
No,
student.
no.
Okay. So I have this one particular student that I met during his first year, first semester. And I was teaching rooms division. And I remember he came to me and he said, hey, Miss, how did you get PR? That was the first question. How did you get PR? So I told him about the journey itself. And then he said, oh, so how should I get promotion, position? And then I told him that, it's not really about more on the position. Position helps you when you need to apply for your nominations and whatnot. But to get there, there's a way how to get there. So I told them how I get to my positions and whatnot. And then he said to me, I'll remember it, Miss. Fast forward, last semester, I bumped into him randomly. But I'm not good at remembering names, but I'm good at faces. Like I have a very good pictographic memory. So he bumped into me and he said, hey, Miss, do you remember me? And blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yes, you are. How are you doing? And he said, you remember when you told me not to give up and just give it a try? And I said, oh, well, there were random conversations I had with you. And he said, I'm now hired at Ritz-Carlton and I'm now a team leader. Wow. Oh my God, I was so happy. Like I was really overjoyed with his story. And he said, thank you, Miss. Because of you, I did not give up. Because I remember there was one conversation that he said, like, it's not worth it. Maybe, giving up. And then I just tell him that enjoy the process. It's not easy, but if it's something that you see yourself in, like, don't give up. Like, give it a try. The word give it a try was the one thing that resonates to him. And then when he sees me, he said, you remember you told me to give it a try? And oh my God, that's a very beautiful story. And my other student last semester as well, which most of them I know, maybe I was their teacher in their first year because it's like, I can't even remember what unit I taught with this girl, this other student. And she was so grateful. She graduated. She's graduating this semester. And she actually brought me a present. Just for thanking me for helping her out and giving her the time to enjoy learning in the classroom. And I was in awe because I was like, you shouldn't spend money on this. But she gave me a peacock S1 brooch.
Wow.
Yes, that was so beautiful. As an appreciation gift, as someone, as a teacher, that we met a lot of students and most of them really, you know what I mean? Like it's 50-50, maybe 40-60. And it's,
like you
yeah,
said, sometimes they have to be in the classroom because of the obligation. There are
yes.
strict rules, which I
Mm.
understand. They have to work a certain amount of times, and they have to come in and do their lecturing.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything we can do as lecturers from your experience? And I'm learning as a new lecturer. I'm learning from you. You were my first unit coordinator that I got into academia. You kind of initiated me into the world of academia, and I am grateful for
Oh.
that. But what is one thing that we can do as lecturers to keep motivating our students, to keep them going?
So to me, it's something to give them an inspiration, like a preview of what is the goal here. Like, how do you see yourself? And then on that particular unit, because of course, you cannot be talking about life all the time, but I would I would suggest to relate the unit itself on something that the students can actually relate and understand, in a sense that it is going to be valuable for their journey, for their career, to actually see it through, not only for the short term but for the long term. Why are you doing this? Where do you see yourself? Sometimes it's difficult, I do understand, because most of the students would say, well, I'm not working in the hospitality, but you have to relate it into the current situation that they are in that way. I feel that we somehow give them the drive and motivation to understand it, because learning in a classroom shouldn't be only like A to B. It has to be somewhat connected to a life experience that cannot be taught inside the classroom. For example, expectations after graduations. So most of the time, I'm very direct with my students that the outcome you might have in your head might not be the same. It might be different from the outcome after graduation. But giving them a heads up of what they should be prepared and why we are learning this particular unit or skills or whatnot is important in some parts of their career. So I always make that connection, and then I always reflect to my own journey to them. Because most of the time, some students would tell you that the reason that there is um, not trust issues, but sometimes students do not have this belief or trust to their lecturer because they have the feeling that the teacher doesn't actually know what they're doing, or they don't actually believe the capabilities of the teacher just because they don't know the teacher, basically. So to me, it is important that I share my journey first so they know me, so they can relate whatever there is that they can relate to me, that, they can work on themselves. Like, oh, I actually kind of feel the same way. So that's me in the classroom. So
uh, same,
not,
same.
yeah. I mean, I heard some good things about you. Mitran and I were at the food court one time, and one of my students during summer class last year ran off to me, and then she said, "Oh, Miss, you said you described correctly what is Mr. Evan." And Mitran and I just burst into laugh. I was like, well, I hope it was a positive thing. And she said,
Thank you.
yeah, it was, you were correct.
Thank you. I appreciate the kind words, yours and Mitran, both of whom I respect and admire for the work that
Oh,
you've
I
done.
enjoyed really working with you, even the first one. So yeah, like I said in the classroom, we should actually tell our story to our student for them to understood who we are. Because if the student don't know who we are, that's the first step, I guess, to earning their trust. Yeah.
All right, let's shift gears, because I agree with everything that you said. It's your personal experience that translates in the classroom. If they don't have anything to connect to, the learning doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this time, I want to shift gears and I want to rapid fire a few questions. So I don't want you to overthink
Yes.
it. Yeah. So
Okay.
it's going to be questions and then you have to
Yes.
answer. Don't
Okay.
overthink it.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Best hotel you've ever stayed in as a guest, not staff.
Ooh, best hotel that I ever stayed, but not a guest. Can a private boutique resort count?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I stayed in private resort called Pangulasian in El Nido, Philippines. The
Oh,
best. And this was back in the early 2000s, but they were the very first hotel to me at the time that was introducing sustainability. And the guests were actually briefed onto that cause and goal of that resort that the guest must actually abide. I was so impressed.
wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question number 2. This is a little bit more tricky. One event you coordinated that almost went completely wrong.
An event that went completely wrong?
Yes.
Oh my God. I was called to the HR with the GM. Yes, I was called. I mean, technically not my fault, but because, in events, if you are the one who closed the deal, even if you're not the one who runs it, the guest would name you as a
Yeah.
responsible person. And it's probably, we teach it in school, like, whereas the ownership goes to in events. So it goes to who actually run it. So what happened was during the event, the fire alarm in the kitchen rings off and false alarm because it was the steamer. And then it just rings the bell. And then it happened that the restaurant manager who was looking after the event was not there. And then the staff don't know what to do. So the guests panic. They evacuated themselves. No one tells them what's happening, what to do and what not. And then, to make this story short, when I came to work, HR with the GM.
The story of how the meeting went, it's for another
Yes.
podcast.
But yes.
All right. This is more personal. Your favorite coffee order?
Ooh, cappuccino. No
Yeah.
sugar. Gosh.
Yeah. Any favorite place that you get in your cappuccino?
Choles.
Yes. Love it.
Do you know Choles?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Of course.
God. Choles and Offshoot. Those are the two places.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. All right. Next one is favorite thing about lecturing that you didn't expect to love.
Quiz and presentation.
In conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking about your experience in the hospitality, the transition, events, wrong, something that went wrong, your love about lecturing, researching. If there's one thing you want every student watching this to remember from today, what would that be?
Ooh, I want my student to actually be curious. So they're young and there is so much opportunity out there and they only need to open up their eyes and the possibilities that they can actually conquer, like as someone from, like, I call myself as an immigrant because I'm not original from here. All you have to do is like be curious and be brave. That's it. Like curiosity is something that no one would teach you in school, in class. No one would teach you how to be curious. it is you who must be curious, to be curious enough to see what is out there offered to you. Like, what option can I go to? And then be brave enough to make that first step, because every decision in life, that first step is the most difficult step. But once you take that first step, the next step is a follow-up of the first step. The next thing you know, you're there at your destination. So patience is one thing, yes. And of course, I'm very religious, Evan. So I do believe that you have to have faith. That's it.
And also give it a try.
Yes. Like, just a short background. My family in my father's side, they're all teachers. So when I was growing up, I told myself I'm not going to be a teacher because they're all teachers. That's why I took management. And look where I am right now.
Not far from the tree. Not far from the tree.
That's true.
Rhanee, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me today. And I will see you on campus the next semester.
Thank you so much for having me, Evan. I appreciate the invite. And yes, I'll see you in campus.